Good morning. Let's head in the Zoom room where Labor Director Dave Delasola is standing by. Good morning, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Chris. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. I guess we'll just start with the current status update of the PUA payouts, and then I kind of wanted to move into what's coming out of Congress and how that's going to impact us here locally. So, Dave, where are we at with payouts and PUA and fraud and all that good stuff?
Well, we batched a payment file last night, and I just got the preliminary numbers. They haven't been confirmed as far as making sure everything looks good, but from what I can see, they look pretty good. We batched a total of just over $14 million that will be going out by the end of this week. Of that, 7.6 million is for PUA, 6.5 million is for FPUC, and about 58,000 is for the LWA. So a total of $14.1 million is going out at the end of this week to various banks and mailboxes.
And still there's still no update on the reduced hours coverage, Dave?
No, from the last update that I heard from the congressman, and of course, I pressed out that our governor, along with Saipan congressman and Saipan governor, all wrote the Secretary of Labor. Of course, we know that he's not been confirmed yet. I think he had a hearing, so we're kind of waiting. But basically asking him for help and relief for the reduced hours. The congressman felt that it was more of an administrative effort than a legislative effort, and he wrote to the Biden. And I know he was recently quoting that he felt pretty confident about getting it fixed. So I think we laid all the foundation of what we can do from this side, and the rest is a matter of getting the Secretary of Labor in place to see whether or not he will consider our request. And of course, we haven't gotten any feedback until he gets in there.
How much fraud are we seeing in this second go round? Is it comparing it all to what we saw in the first round of PUA and FPUC?
No, we've and the reason for that is back in November, we put in all the way from, I'd say, August to November, we were trying various fraud measures that we came up with and the software vendor came up with. And we employed about a dozen to 20 different measures. Some worked very well, some didn't. And it wasn't until November that we got what we felt was a good mix of measures that was able to curtail the fraud so that we can actually manage the claim process of monitoring and cleaning to batch them out. That's why after November, we went quite aggressive in moving that date forward all the way up to present, like we are now, to be able to batch, because, initially we had, 90% fraud to every 10% claims, and every day we had to clean out 90%. We had a total of 93,000 fraud claims that were filed that got into our system that we managed to clean. Now it's a much more manageable number that we're able to get and take care of. So I'm very happy with, so far, knock on wood, the fraud measures that we put in are holding up. There's still fraud getting in, but we're still managing to get it before it actually pays out. We have a couple other things up our sleeve that we do at the last minute to make sure that we catch all those off-island.
Where are we with the overpayment payments and waivers of those? I remember you said something like you were working on trying to get a waiver for certain types of overpayment.
Yeah. So the overpayments, we deployed the software overpayment module in January, and that's why a lot of overpayment letters went out. We continue to work very closely with all the claimants that have been coming in to pay, and a lot of these were small type of claim overpayments, mainly from distributing your income or getting the PPP along with the PUA and various sorts like that. And so, we continue to try to handle that along with the implementation of this new PUA program. So that's been quite a big a challenge, of course, for all our staff and people that, we had a lot of people that, of course, had to reopen their claims that were expired, and a lot of them forgot or never knew how to work an online claim system. So we had to hold all those people that are trying to come back on, filing their weeks, and then you have the overpayments. We continue to do appeals. That's been running well. It's a laborious process, but that's moving. So we're moving along. It's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to come up with, especially with the implementation of the new program. It has a lot of requirements, especially notifications. We put out the reduced hours, but we also put out the refusal to work. That's one. There's a mandatory documents that is required, but we've been pretty good at that from the beginning. And of course, there's an ID verifications that we need to make sure that we feel confident with the present system that we have going on. And, we're trying to see what's going to happen with the new Biden plan that's coming up.
And I guess we'll just pivot from there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Congressman Nicholas had a press conference talking about all of the things that are coming out of Congress. What types of changes are we anticipating with the PUA and the FPUC with this new round of relief that's heading down?
Well, of course, we won't know until it actually passes. But the biggest change is just the kind of that we're seeing is that the FPUC will change from 300 to 400. And then the biggest change, of course, is that instead of it sunsetting in March and April, we're looking for, they're looking at like August 29th for to continue the program. And so those were the main changes. So a much longer continuation and a little bit increase in the FPUC. So we'll see what gets vetted out in both houses and what President Biden ends up signing. But I'm just hoping that there's not a lot more processes or requirements to keep the program going. And of course, the one thing that you're going to have to remember is once we start opening up more, get into P-Core 3, businesses start to open, you're going to see a change in the requirements for our program. You're going to have to start essentially job searching. And that's a whole new dynamic that basically we've never implemented because we've always been pretty much in a shutdown, right, not a recovery mode with this PUA program. So there's a requirement to look for like 3 jobs a week, and you have to upload that on your weekly claim process, and which is going to change and require a lot more effort on the claimant part. Right. When we get down that road. Right now, we're not there yet, but I just kind of want to put it out there that people, as we open up and recover, so does the requirements that is to allow you to continue on with the PUA program.
Dave, I had a couple of questions here. What about people who are working on a commission basis? And then I would just like to add also contract workers who are not making any income but are back to work full time. Also, those people who are working on commission basis, only they do not receive hourly pay. Are they entitled to the PUA?
There's a little bit more complicated. Let me put it this way. On the, you got the 11 requirements that are eligible requirements to allow you to get PUA. So The new one that's there is the KK, which is the last one where it allows independent contractors, gig workers, or self-employed to be open and trying to make an income. But if you still have a uh, even though that you open, you still have a large diminishment in your income, then you can still apply for PUA under the KK reason. So if you fall under that you're open and you're self-employed or independent contractor or a gig worker and you're out there, it doesn't matter if you're fully open or partially open. If you see a large diminishment in your income, then you would just claim that income and you could get full PUA or to reduce PUA depending on the earning disregard. So that is something that's new that allows, and that's a big thing for Guam. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to, because of tourism, maybe they're opening, they're trying to make a living, they're trying to do something, and this allows them to open and try to work. And if you don't make much money this week, then you just claim that money and you can still get the PUA. If you do really good the next week, then you don't file for that week. And you just keep going until you can start sustaining yourself.
Dave, I know that when the second round came out and then the revelation that those on reduced hours wouldn't be eligible to receive any PUA benefits, did that affect the total number of people on the PUA program? And if so, how many workers were affected by that?
Well, we give a rough estimate of about 30%. And you have to, it's hard to gauge because our program doesn't, it's, either you're eligible for PUA or not. It doesn't differentiate the different types of categories like that. So it's difficult. So we estimate about 30%. And as time has been moving forward, a lot more businesses, as you can see now, Chris, a lot more businesses are open. And so a lot of those people are going back into work. And as I stated, that if you're working, then businesses try to work fewer employees, but at longer hours. And at least they're gaining some income. And as I stated, this is not something that I'm happy about. And the governor's not happy, and the congressman's not happy. And there's a lot of, all the people in Saipan and about 1/3 the states also that we're paying out. So we continue to fight and try to get that changed. But in the meanwhile, at least the unemployed can still get this benefit. Like I said, 14 million going out this week. And that's still a lot of money. And we're in the range of like $570 million, give or take, that we put out there. So we continue to get the money out. That was what the governor wanted, and we continue to do that. Fight the fight, but you have to remember this is a federal program. It's their rules, and I need to just continue to do that and fight the rules to see if we can get them changed, and hopefully we can. And I don't file if you're reduced hours, or hold off filing until we can put this to bed. And that way you don't get a possible overpayment if they decide not to grant the change.
Dave, we had one last comment here before I let you go. Can you ask about the job search requirement for self-employed who can't look for another job because they are the business owner?
Well, that's a good something that I have to figure that out exactly. I have an answer, but I don't want to give it out until I get it vetted out. So maybe next time I come on your show, I can give you a clean answer. Like I said, right now it's nothing to worry about because the job searches haven't been a requirement. The governor put out an EO basically removing the job search requirement. and that's in place indefinitely until our island opens up and there's actual jobs to start looking for. So we know we're not there yet, and when we are getting closer to that time, I'll have all the information of all those little nuances that you are asking for. But that's a good question.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Chris.
Have a good week.
You too. You have safe.
Dave Della Sola, Department of Labor Director, there with our PUA update.